Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome one, welcome all to SimSpeed TV this beautiful Thursday evening. We are back in New York State for round 15 of the Wide Open Clothing Australian Sprint Car Championship Series at Weed Sport Speedway for the Bokus Built Sprints Empire State Showdown. This is going to be an absolutely fantastic night of racing at one of the oddest dirt ovals on the iRacing service. Looking forward to bringing you a solid night of sprint car action here tonight. Bringing it to you live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Kick. It's me, Reese Gardner, with Scott Rankin alongside me in the commentary box. Tell you what, Scott, I say this almost every round that I'm looking forward to it, but I think this is the track that I've been looking forward to the most all season. I've really missed Weed Sport. Basically a trapezoid. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's definitely something that's kind of unique and really difficult to sort of get a grasp on, and the flow to it doesn't have a natural flow for a dirt track. If you really think about what your traditional tracks, it's very unique, and there is absolutely nothing else like it. So, you know, all right, that means you got to get in, you got to get yourself settled into the sim, and you got to work really hard to set everything up and get it all right, because you make a little mistake here and very difficult to get that momentum back. 360 cars tonight as well, so smaller engines.
Yeah, exactly right. Less power, less drive out of the corners, less potential for wheel spin, but yeah, momentum is a bit more important in the 360 sprint cars. There's Weed Sport Speedway, a rectangular, sort of lopsided, half-melted rectangle of a place, and every single turn here is completely different. It's one of the tracks that's the most challenging to get around, and you're really going to have to pick your moves, because particularly turn one, it looks super tight from the air. You can carry a lot of speed through it, of course, but you have walls on the inside of every single corner as well. I think we might see more than a few drivers who tip their cars in a little too early and clip those apex barriers. So we'll make our way further on into the session from this point, and I got to highlight the back straight as well. It's curved. You need to sort of enter high in turn 3 and then dip low in turn 4 to get the best run out of the corners here. It's the same for most dirt ovals, but you need to take good care, especially at Weed Sport. Format for tonight is pretty much what you'd expect from an ODSE event. We start off with the heats, and then we move through to the C and B mains, followed by a grid redraw into the A main. 30 laps are scheduled here at Weed Sport. Actually, 35 is the laps that we're going to be going there in the A main. The graphics slightly out of date there, but we will have 10 lap heats. Top 4 from each will transfer to the A main, and then yeah, it's basically what you'd expect, Scott. I think this format has worked incredibly well all through this championship, and we only have a few rounds to go, don't we?
Yeah, that we do. So yeah, set yourself up, lock yourself in, and get sorted, because here we go, back end of the championship, last opportunities to score points, and have a look at the names that are on that list as well. Berkeley's been returned to a run of form of late, but Ethan Winter, is this where he built that title run last year? Think about that in the back of your mind as well. Just be aware that he, at any possible time, can be a threat to just about everyone. And I think that's going to be the big thing, is that he's always going to be there and always going to be threatening.
Yeah, for sure. We have Harry Stewart also winning here in the Wheelman Challenge, driving the midget, or the speed car, as we call them down here in Australia. Joel Berkeley winning in the non-winged King of the 360s championship in 2020. In the winged race, Richie McLeod took victory, and Berkeley is the only one who's won a feature here more than once. He also took it in the Big Block Modified Madness Tour in 2021. Braden Shute, the last 360 winner here at Weed Sport Speedway. Well, speaking of names, we've got a few that we need to go through up the top of the championship standings, and only 3 rounds remain after this one. Ethan Winter currently on top, ahead of Bradley Oldfield and Joel Berkeley, and Berkeley has had an absolute ripping tear of form in the last few rounds. He has rocketed up to that 3rd place, but he's shadowed by Clayton Davies. Only 2 points between those two there for the 3rd place spot, and things looking close down at the back end of the top 10 as well. Matthew Stables and Paul Ryan only 1 point separated.
Yeah, hugely competitive up and down the field, no matter where you look. So, you know, make sure that you're settled in for this one tonight, ladies and gentlemen, from Weed Sports, as the cars are about to make their way out and try and run this track in as well. So settle in. This is tight. I think it's a little bit more narrow as well, as worthwhile pointing out. It's not necessarily as wide as some of the other tracks are going to be. So, you know, groove is a little bit more difficult to come by. And set yourself in for the long term as well, because remember, think about your features and the way that they've gone the last few times out. And it's been chaos and calamity. In actual fact, there was a little bit of a warning passed on to the drivers over the last little break. Hey, features haven't been necessarily the cleanest that they possibly can be. So tighten it up, work on yourselves. I think that's fair. Look, there's definitely been more cautions, I think, of late than historic. If you have a look back over probably the middle course of the season, we had a really good run where the features went clean for bulk of the way. So I think tonight's gonna be one of those ones that really tests that discipline for me.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same. Particularly last round at USA International Speedway, which you were not present for, Scott. There were quite a few cautions that were brought out in the feature, and the race was massively broken up. I got to say, the caution potential already at Weed Sport is pretty high, just thanks to its odd layout and the concrete barriers down at the apexes. You know, you tip it in just a little bit too early and you're headed straight for the end of one of those concrete barriers, which is not going to be healthy for your car. While we've got a moment, a quick moment to thank the sponsor of this round, Bokus Built Sprints, ran by Colin Bokus, who is here today as a competitor. American-ran sprint car team fielding American and Australian drivers on the sim. They're a top-level sprint car team. They field multiple cars in the iRacing Pro Series. If you're interested in what they're all about, you can visit them at fusionsetupshop.com. if you'd like to give the sprint car setups from Bokus Built Sprints a try. It looks like we are running into qualifying, getting ready to set the grids for our 5 heats here today, Scott. We are back to 5 heats with the top 4 from each advancing to the A main, but that means that we are going to have quite a bit of competition for that feature grid.
Yeah, I think, obviously back to the redraw as well, the regular redraw rules, and that it'll be, um, you know, front front 5 and rear 5 of that top 10 will be first and second from those heats. As it'll be front 4 and rear 4 in the side the top 8. So there is a little bit of that. Here comes qualifying nice and early on and sitting in, and yeah, this will be a big one I think tonight. I think we've already talked about the points and just everything that's on offer, but I can't stress enough. We're getting to that point now where all of the drop rounds are starting to be calculated. So it's about making sure that you're putting your best foot forward. And I think one of the biggest things is that Ethan Winter's just been so consistent in a year where there's been so much inconsistency. The reason he finds himself back up at the point, I remember he didn't get out of the gate strong. Think about that all the way back at the start of the season, Reese. He was very slow out of the gates. Then through the middle of the season, he's built that championship run. So he was a long way down. And I remember saying at one point, gee, he might be done for the year. Well, I like the fact that I'm eating those words.
Yeah, it's been a great run from Ethan Winter, from many of the drivers who we saw some very strange dips in form from at the start of the season. Well, Joel Berkeley in qualifying has already taken the provisional quick time as we check out Brock Thompson moving his way through to his second lap, improves to a 12.4. That's a few tenths off the top time set by Berkeley, who has evidently come here ready to fight. Harry Stewart, previous feature winner at this place, currently P5, and wow, that's a big slide. So it looks like that's going to be the end of his run done. Oscar Ames, meanwhile, he's been a consistent competitor up the sort of upper midfield at least, and going towards the front as well. Looking for a bit of consistency is that number 99. Let's see what he can do on his first lap. A 12.8, and that's going to be good enough to slot him into 15th.
Yep, so reasonable time thus far. I was just keeping an eye on Zach Rattray White, who's gone to 9th spot. How about the lap time, though, for Matthew Gowans? He'll be really, really, again, another guy that's just built and built and built and built. And we're starting to see the real best of him. I think back at the start of the season, we hadn't seen... He's clearly talented enough, right? 7.5K in the iRating column sort of says he's talented enough. I think one of the big things for Matty was just learning to run in this field and just making sure that he was confident and comfortable. And I think as you've seen him go week in and week out, he's built that confidence level. What you're going to remember as well for Oceanic Dirt Sim events, we run that unique setup. No spotter, no rear view mirror. So it comes down to you have to know where those other cars are. Tim Ryan's only good enough for 4th best. But then again, that's a return of form for him. So we'll sit here and say, hey, that's only 4th best. But he'll be sitting there and going, I'm capable a little bit more. But I think I'm comfortable with that. That's a front row start for a heat. And I think that's quite critical. Firing off from the front row here, you just get clear of all the junk in behind you.
Yeah, pole position for the 4th heat. Actually, no, he's just been shuffled back to 6th place. Matthew Stables and Clayton Davies putting in improved times. So that means Tim Ryan will be starting, I think, 2nd for heat 2. Now it becomes 2nd for heat 3 as Ethan Winter puts in another time there to put himself up to P2 overall. Very interesting qualifying session there. And it looks like that's the majority of drivers that have set times from that. Berkeley, Winter, and Gowans, your top 3, but your quick time going to the number 9.
And critically, have a look at the margin as well. 58 thousandths of a second. That's half a tenth. That's more than half a tenth. That's very uncommon that you see that. Have a look at the margins a little bit further back. Gowans is only those couple thousandths ahead of Hadley Boyce in there for P3, P4. Matthew Stables and Hadley Boyce an identical lap time as well. So nothing in it between them. Clayton Davies drops all the way back down to 6th. So he's not even on pole for a heat from Tim Ryan, Darcy Walker, Colin Bokus, and I believe Lockham Mead was your top 10. So for those boys, really, really tricky qualifying. Here they come.
They do indeed. Here's the grid for Heat 1. The heats presented by McSlide Race out of Australian Speedway Results Qualifying. Joel Berkeley and Clayton Davies are your top 2, with Harry Stewart and Darcy Wilson on row 2. Daniel Grimshaw starts 5th alongside Trent Gosley. and then Nick Mithen will be the final car to take to the start here for the first heat of the night. Now, the track evolution has been not all that much coming out of qualifying, but I think the track is just in the margin now for some alternate lines to be had. 26 degrees Celsius track temperature, which is nice and cool. It means that the moisture present in the clay is not going to evaporate away as quickly, and I think the track should be able to hold on to its grip for a little longer.
Here we go for the first one of the night as well. And don't forget, we'll get our restart zone over into turn 3 and turn 4. I think there was a little bit of a difference in terms of what we normally expect, but I think tonight the big one is going to be it's again between the tire bundles and the lineups on the inside. I believe it's the light posts, and just waiting on hearing from Brady Baldwin. Update from Brady Baldwin as well. He won't actually be taking part in racing here tonight, which is unfortunate for him. Takes over admin duties. But yeah, won't be out there. And the other one I'm thinking is, I didn't see Hobson in here tonight either, so I think he's taking an off week.
Yeah, that looks to be the case. Missing Brenton Hobson and now missing Brady Baldwin, because our usual ODSE admin, Liam James, is having some trouble getting his iRacing sim updated / resubbed. So unfortunate that happens, but it does happen sometimes. And we hope that Brady Baldwin can come back strong for the next round of the championship. But for the moment, this is the end of the formation lap. And Heat 1 is go, with Joel Berkeley leading us away. Harry Stewart already up to second place. He got a great jump on Clayton Davies, but Davies is immediately on the attack, trying the high line early on, but it looks like it might be too early for that to really work. That opens him up to an attack from Darcy Wilson in the number 5, who gets him in turn 1, and now Wilson's going to be having a run at Harry Stewart as well. This is a great run from the number 5.
Yeah, it looked for half a moment that Harry Stewart, my apologies, was Darcy Wilson, the number 5 machine, was struggling to get that car turned and pointed, and it didn't want to rotate for him. Squeezes the 10 machine of Davies to the bottom. Davies didn't like being squished all the way back down there on the bottom of the racetrack, looking to try and wrap and find some speed. Little bit of an open of the steering in the middle of the corner. Little bit too much angle, but not behind from Daniel Grimshaw. Was not able to make advantage of that one.
Yeah, Grimshaw's trying to get into the transfer spots here. Remember, the top 4 from each heat transfer straight through to the A main. Currently, Clayton Davies occupies that position. Replay of the number 44, Nick Mithen. He started last, and unfortunately, coming together with Trent Gosley, that has destroyed his car, and he will unfortunately not take any further part in this one. Daniel Grimshaw, they're then falling back a bit from Darcy Wilson and Clayton Davies. Davies still trying the high line at some points there in the final couple of turns, maybe trying to get some momentum up for turns 1 and 2. But again, I think it's a bit too early in the night. The track just isn't there yet up high for those kinds of moves. It's on for the lead though. Harry Stewart catching up to Joel Berkeley, and look, he's trying the high line as well to try and get the momentum up. I'm honestly wondering when that high line is going to come into effect. The track is still very fresh right now.
Yeah, it's widening out just a little bit, but I think for Harry Stewart, he got close. Why not try something? Because at this point in time, it's going to be very difficult for him to take the lead away down on the bottom, because they're just playing follow the leader down here in heat number 1. So he ventured up there just to test the waters and see how it was looking out, but it's going to be Joel Berkeley. Takes the pole position, capitalizes and translates to the top 5 slot for the feature and the redraw. You transfer spots to Berkeley from Stewart, Darcy Wilson, and Clayton Davies will make the feature, which means he doesn't have to come through the alphabet. That's the first time for a while, I think, for Davies. He's been caught up in a few.
Yeah, he's had a difficult season, as have many. Grimshaw, Gosley, and Mithen miss out, and they will have to work their way through the alphabet. As we immediately flick on over to Heat 2, we've got the championship leader, Ethan Winter, on pole for this one, with Tim Ryan, the 2023 champion, alongside him on the front row, with Norman and Brian behind. Brock Thompson and Thomas Mitchell round out your top 6, and then Cameron De Bruin takes the last spot in 7th place. 13.1 in qualifying for Cameron De Bruin, and that is about half a second off what Thomas Mitchell could manage. It is almost a full second slower than what Ethan Winter could manage. So I think De Bruin, either he had some issues getting up to pace in qualifying, or he's had some troubles with his car setup. Hopefully, whatever the issues are, he's worked them out by now and he can try and make up some positions.
And remember, 2/10 slower than Midden, 4/10 who was the only qualifier just ahead of him, and he was 4/10 slower than Jamie Stovall, who was that next qualifying car just ahead of him as well. So you're right. I think you bang on. I think there's definitely a moment there for him in qualifying, but now he's going to put it together. Additionally, again, it could be the same thing. You know, he knows he's probably going to be middle to back of the heat. Test the waters. Go out there, run a different line, test something. It didn't work out. Okay, no problem. Well, what have you lost out? You're going to be about there anyway, so realistically, not a whole bunch, but you'll learn something. And I think that's the big thing for him. Here comes the fire off.
Yeah, certainly does. In about a lap's time. Still waiting for the pace truck to make its way into the pits as they come across the start-finish line. Interesting to see that Tim Ryan is going all the way out there on the formation lap.
Yeah, he's playing games, isn't he? That's the thing about Tim. You know, he's either gonna complain about something or he's gonna do something wacky. Tim is always got to keep the eyeballs on because you just never know what he's gonna come up with.
Well, what's Ethan Winter going to come up with here for the start? Can he take everyone by surprise with a quick getaway? It looks like he almost could, but a little wiggle. He is going to lead by a few car lengths into the first turn there. Tim Ryan secures second. Nathan Norman under attack from two machines, Paul Bryan and Brock Thompson, as Thompson tries up the inside at turn 3. Gets a little tap from Bryan on the way in, and Nathan Norman will stay ahead in third just for the moment. It is all going off here at the back end of the transfer. Brock Thompson up the inside.
Yeah, he's going to try and get that one done. Does get clean through and underneath. And for Paul Bryan, you feel for him just a little bit. It was just the fact of he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Now he's starting to build a little bit of time, starting to build back towards Thomas Mitchell. So he's going to have to pick one more off before he can start to get there in terms of where he's looking for. Well, at the moment, lap number 3 in the books, start of lap number 4. Thomas Mitchell starts to run a little bit high, makes a little bit of a mistake all the way back there. So Bryan's starting to build. But he's got to run down Nathan Norman. That'll be the next target. Brock Thompson's picked him off. He's up into third.
Yeah, Paul Bryan had a magnificent run at USA International Speedway last round. Finished second to Joel Berkeley in the feature. And it looks like he's finally gotten his way past Thomas Mitchell. So now he can try and find his way forward. But that's a very aggressive corner entry from the 28 of Mitchell. Bryan has to make up some 0.8 of a second at least if he wants to get into that transfer. And he's rapidly running out of time. We are on lap 7 at the moment, and it'll be 3 laps to go once Ethan Winter crosses the line right now. It looks like the gap might be closing for second. Meanwhile, Tim Ryan is minding his own business there, but Brock Thompson is catching.
Yeah, Brock Thompson's been really quick in this heat. He's starting to make a little bit of headway right up and towards Tim Ryan, but as they round the corner across the start-finish line, that's going to be 3 more laps to go. Sorry, my apologies. 2 more laps to go. Ryan is starting to maintain pace. His car works a little bit better on that high line, but for Brock Thompson, it works better in the middle to low. Is Paul Bryan going to be able to try and run things down? White flag in the air from heat number 2, and Nathan Norman's looking pretty at the moment to get his transfer.
He is indeed. Meanwhile, the number 1 is going to finish P1. Ethan Winter wins heat number 2 ahead of Tim Ryan and Brock Thompson. And Nathan Norman was able to finish well ahead of Paul Bryan in the end to protect that transfer spot. Outside of the top 5, Thomas Mitchell finishes where he started in P6 with Cameron De Bruin coming home in 7th place. They will work their way through the alphabet a bit later, but positions secured for Winter, Ryan, Thompson, and Norman. It's time for Heat 3, and Matthew Gowans in the number 8 is on pole for this one. Got Darcy Walker alongside with Aston Hurley and Kobe Noonan on the 2nd row. James Oliver and Nick Ryan will be 5th and 6th. And Brady Baldwin would have started 7th in this heat, but of course he is taking admin duty tonight, so unfortunately he won't be able to race. Didn't set a time in practice either, so let's see what these 6 cars will be able to do to sort themselves out. Keeping an eye on the track at the moment, seeing a very clear, slick line starting to form on the entry into these corners.
Yeah, and that means that it's going to start to come up and off the bottom, or you're going to have to be a lot more disciplined with that throttle pedal. Those guys was ripping around before, trying to run in that middle to highlight. The pace is starting to come their way, but yeah, it's definitely getting hard packed and slick down that bottom. All the grippy dirt has removed itself from the locality of the low line, so it's opened the corners up fractionally, and nearly tipping it down is, I think, the biggest issue. If you have a look at the way that they sort of transfer into 1 and 2, have a look at how narrow that line is on the entry to 1 and 2. Well, the slick line covers about 90% of that now, but the margin's still not moved up the racetrack at all.
Yeah, very interesting to see. I would have thought that there'd be more drivers testing out that higher line, but I suppose it is still a bit too early. I think the track temperature might be playing a part in it as well. If the track's able to hold on to that moisture content, even when the slick line forms, you'll still have a fair amount of grip.
Yeah, it's just not moving up at all, is it? That bottom needs to dry. There was a lot of dust at the back end of that heat just starting to form, but again, I think that's middle to low. The big thing is keep your eyes on. So see the entry. Now you're starting to see that line, see the line widening up right there as we're pacing right now. I reckon it's going to start to move up, and it'll be turned down later and straighten up your exit for me.
All right, let's see how many drivers do that here as the 6 360 sprint cars find their way to the start zone, and Matthew Gowans fires it out there in the lead, almost getting 3-4 wide for second place. Darcy Walker holds on. Kobe Noonan getting a good outside run there in the number 26. And it seems that Aston Hurley is stuck down low, losing a lot of pace there. He is now under attack from Nick Ryan for the last position in the transfer spots. Can Ryan go for it into the final turn? He's going to stay high for the moment, but it's looking pretty close so far.
Yeah, well, Nick Ryan's going to have some work to do to get past Aston Hurley in that 99 machine. He's looking quick, but the thing for Hurley is he's starting to make some inroads on a Kobe Noonan just ahead of him as well. Now he moves fractionally down, so he's around the bottom of that middle line, and that's where he's trying to find a little bit of pace. Somebody's just moved to the bottom lane. It's actually up at Darcy Walker. Is he going to pay the penalty for doing so? Well, Kobe Noonan says, yes, baby, yes. Rip that high slide and find some momentum.
That was a huge slide from Darcy Walker. That shows you how little grip there is on the slick line at the moment. Going to change my opinion from before. It looks like you want to stay well off it, and running a little bit higher is the way to go now. On for the lead, on for third. Anywhere you look, there is a battle for position, and Nick Ryan is still catching up to Hurley and Walker as Noonan goes for the lead on Gowans, but he gets onto the slick and gets way too sideways. That's just lost him that whole advantage.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of a rut starting to form down that bottom, and a little bit of banking to try and help things out, but it's not a huge deal. You got to really keep that right rear tyre stuck in the grippy stuff at the moment. Walker now still under a little bit of pressure. Hurley's right there. Have a look at Nick Ryan. This is going to be a three-way battle for the final transfer spot. 8 done on the... Oh, that's up and into the fence for Nick Ryan. Manages to hang on to it, but I don't know how much that car's got left. 2 to go.
All right, so Nick Ryan no longer a part of the transfer battle there. Or at least in the short term. It seems he's recovered well from it. Aston Hurley's still holding on to it, and Hurley's looking for some good luck here. He wants to try and get into a feature right off the bat, but the last lap is upon us, and Matthew Gowans has done enough to carry it through to victory. Noonan finishes second, then Walker, then Hurley. Those are your transfer spots. Nick Ryan and James Oliver, they tried as best they could, but ultimately the only thing they could settle for is swapping positions at the back of the field there. Brady Baldwin, of course, will be taking no part in tonight's racing. So there's your top 4. They're the ones transferring through, and that means that Matthew Gowans is going to be fighting nicely for one of those top 5 positions in the feature later on. Heat 4 now, and Hadley Boyce has got the front row with Colin Bokus, who is sponsoring this round. Nathan Van Der Wacker and John Schultz going to round out your second row, with Bentley Summers and Gary Redcliffe 5th and 6th. Nash Granger takes the final starting spot for the moment. Now, you remember that earlier in the season, Scott, Colin Bokus also sponsored the round at Oswego, and he ended up winning the feature there. I wonder if he's going to do the same here at Weed Sport.
I was literally about to say the same thing, so took the words right out of my mouth at the moment. So, hey man, look, any opportunity to do so. The big thing that'll be playing into his favor as well, he's starting on the high side. So if he can get a reasonable launch, Nathan Vanderwacker, I think, is actually the first driver that's in trouble. His job is to try and find that opening slot in that outside lane and try to feed up there as quickly as possible. I reckon the outside lane is going to go as quickly as it came in, so we could look to lose that one in the very near future. And it might transition back to the middle, I reckon, if we're not careful here.
Yeah, I mean, I just looked at the cars going through turn 1 on my rear chase view that I usually use when commentating races, and it was very curious, the fork, you know, the split. You can almost see it there on that aerial view. There's 2 slick lines that are splitting off at the entry to turn 1. We'll see it in action here as we get the start from Hadley Boyce, and he rockets into a solid lead. Colin Bokus holds strong in second, but they go 3 wide for third. Nathan Vanderwacker in the middle, and he almost gets into Bokus trying to defend there. They're 3 wide again. John Schultz and Bentley Summers are right in the midst of this, and Summers is going to get the podium spot, but he struggles for traction down low, and Vanderwacker is back ahead.
Oh, here's the slider. Here's the big old slider for Bentley Summers, and he parks it on exactly what you needed to. You've got to try and take the top line away. It's now going to be Vanderwacker who opens the steering partway through 1 and 2. He'll nick that top spot and the groove back away from him. Look at the crossover line. Expected the slider, and now he's going to get the momentum back down the front straight away. Perfect defense. That's what you're looking for in sprint cars.
That's fantastic stuff, and this is why I love Weed Sport so much. It allows you to do that with its sort of multi-tiered corner structure. John Schultz is on the outside looking in for this transfer battle at the moment, as it looks like Colin Bokus has gotten the lead from Hadley Boyce. Hello, our home hero is strutting his stuff up the front now. Great move to get ahead, but it's still on between Vanderwacker, Summers, and Schultz. Now, if there's a battle between Vanderwacker and Summers again, Schultz is definitely going to take advantage, but at the moment, he is looking to make some moves on the number 3.
Yeah, John Schultz is trying to close in. Time's starting to run out into the back half of the heat. 4 more laps left to run from heat number 4. And it's been a heat of big old sliders, and it might be time for another one. Not quite close enough for John Schultz. Car up and in the fence. Hadley Boyce makes a mistake, and now he slides back into third. He might transition into the transition spot as well, which will be the critical thing now as Bentley Summers rips it down the back straightaway. Slide job coming bottom to top, bottom to middle. Tries to take the line away and does manage to do so. 2 to go.
Here we go then. Look at this view here. John Schultz feeding the right rear to the wall as he sees the transfer spot up ahead of him. What can he do to split those 2 competitors ahead of him? The final lap begins for this trio for Colin Bokus and Nathan Vanderwacker. They are a long way ahead, and John Schultz is falling back side by side between Boyce and Summers for third. There's Bokus taking the win. Yeah, great job indeed for Colin Bokus and for Bentley Summers and Hadley Boyce. That was a hard but clean battle, exactly what we want to see.
I think the big one was, I was really impressed with the way Bentley Summers drove that one, because he ripped the bottom and he wrapped that line perfectly. There was maybe a few inches of tire to where the slick started, a couple of laps that he ripped the bottom, and he placed that car absolutely to perfection. He basically said to these boys, look, I'm going to send the big old move. And he had the option to take a slider. He elected not to take it. And that was the smart way to go. Gets himself third. Boyce hangs onto the transfer shot. Schultz, Granger, and Redcliffe to come through the alphabet.
There we go. One final heat to run, and there's only 6 cars in this one. No need to go over the page. Matthew Stables and Lachlan Meady are front row, with Oscar Ames and Zach Rattray White third and fourth. Daniel Boyd and Jamie Stovold are your third row. Now, this is another heat where I'm not entirely clear on who to pick for the favourite to win. Stables is going to have the advantage on the actual start, but we've seen plenty of great performances from Mead, Ames, Rattray White, Boyd, and Stovold too.
Yeah, this is a tough one to read. Stovold's definitely having a weaker season, so for me, he's got to come up and turn up in these final couple of races and show something to potentially progress out of this one. Daniel Boyd has been in there and out about it. I think Zach could look at this one on the tin and go, maybe I qualified a little bit deeper in the field than necessary, but this is a tricky track as well. So anytime that you're asking something from your less experienced drivers, you come to Weed Sport, this is going to be one of the tracks that they tend to struggle. So Amez has been aggressive for my liking. Look, he's, for me, probably the linchpin driver in this heat. He's the driver I'm sort of keeping an eye on. And if there's going to be drama, honestly, Amers is probably the point to keep our eyes on. I reckon. I've got him at a 50-50 to transfer out of this one.
Yeah, keep your eyes then on the number 99, and you can clearly see from the aerial view that there's two distinct slick lines through the corners now, especially on entry. See up the top where it sort of branches in turns 1 and 2. They're about to go over it now. Right there where the pace truck is. Yeah, where do you place your car there? Basically, no matter what you do, you're going to be experiencing some slick. You just got to nail it.
Have a look at that little berm in the middle. That just sort of, it's just a slight increase in banking. That's where I'm probably. The top's now gone too far up, I think. So it's, again, there is an opportunity to wrap the bottom, but you've really got to wrap the find some purchase.
How much purchase is Matthew Stables going to find here in the start zone? Power down and away you go. Already fighting for second place. Sliding up the inside is Oscar Ames. But Lachlan Mead, oh, he almost had a chance to fight back. But Zach Rattray-White said, hi, everybody, I'm here. I'm going to try and go for second. Now, Daniel Boyd holds on to the final transfer spot. Lachlan Mead has been absolutely shuffled out of it.
Yeah, he certainly has. Zach Rattray-White just struggles to keep the car on the track at this point in time. Oh. Boyd's down in there. Contact between... That wasn't necessarily... I reckon Rattray-White had no idea how close Amers was. And now the bottom's starting to become the spot where everyone wants to head back to. It's not even the middle like we thought it was. The middle's narrow. And if you make a mistake there, there's not nearly enough room to place that car. But Mead's got no speed, and he is just shooting off the back end of the pack. He is in a world of hurt. Nearly, though, Amers into the barrier in 1 and 2.
Yeah, that loses momentum for him, but not quite enough to put him back behind Daniel Boyd. They make contact, and sweeping through is Jamie Stovall into the final transfer spot. Boyd and Mead think they tangled. They tangled at the back of the field, and Lachlan Mead is now out after starting so well on the front row of this one. Well, it's a battle between Ames, Stovall, and Boyd now for the transfer, and it looks like Stovall lost a bit of momentum there. There's the contact, and it's just straight up wheel banging. Not much Lachlan Mead could do there.
No, as soon as that car unloaded, he was going all the way to the fans right, crossing the start-finish line. Now, for Stables, 4 more laps left to run. Amers starting to look a lot more confident and secure in that one. And that all started to come about just because Oscar Amers was getting really racy with Rattray-White, and Rattray-White wanted to shut him down. And that's what's caused all of this hullabaloo. But it's going to be Amers from Stovall at the moment. Stovall's going to come under pressure, I think, for the final transfer spot. I don't think there's a huge deal in it. Back here, yeah, you can just start to see that Daniel Boyd's actually starting to really pick up the pace and run some pretty consistent lap times. He's going to keep him under the pump here.
Yeah, he's chucking that car into turn 1 especially. Let's look at the difference in line here as the last lap begins. Yeah, a bit up higher for the number 79, and he just uses that banking for a great run down the back stretch. Stables is going to take the final heat win of the night. Rattray-White in second, and it looks like Stovall is just going to hold off Daniel Boyd for the last transfer spot. After starting dead last in this heat, that's a great turnaround for Jamie Stovall. And so that is going to sort out your final preliminary spots in the feature, and also your top 10, which will go through the grid redraw later. Stables, Rattray-White, Ames, and Stovall are your top 4, with Boyd and Mead missing out. Well, time to move through to the C main, presented by Apex Civil Solutions Queensland. It's James Oliver and Nash Granger on the front row, with Lachlan Mead and Nick Mithen on row 2. Cameron De Bruin and, well, Brady Baldwin's not going to be here, so we can move straight through to 7th place Gary Redcliffe, going to have 6 cars starting this one, and the top 4 from this one will transfer through to the B main. You finish outside that, you are going home.
Yeah, so there'll be 2 drivers not transitioning out of that B main. Out into the B main out of this one. A little bit of work to do from Gary Redcliffe from the back row. Hasn't necessarily been the quickest that he'd like. I think Cameron De Bruin as well. He's sitting there. He's only 1 spot away. But if he can find a little bit of speed here as the C main starts to get longer and then the B main longer again, this is an opportunity for him as well. And we're starting to see the track get really tricky to drive, I think is the big thing. So this now becomes driver skill. This is where the real skill comes in, because I think reading the track is really, really difficult, But just making sure that you keep the momentum up when you do pick the wrong lane is going to be huge.
Yeah, that is correct. I mean, looking at the aerial view again, especially through 3 and 4, there is a lot of loose clay right in the middle of the racetrack. You're going to be seeing drivers run the extreme high line there to get the momentum up. Not seeing the same in turns 1 and 2, but the slick line is widening at turn 1 entry. So you never know. Maybe sticking a little bit lower down the start-finish stretch will be beneficial, or maybe even just committing to a super high run through turn 1.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing is transitioning off the corners now. We're actually seeing when drivers get down to the 3 and 4, right up against the fence, there's a lot of big bumps at the moment where the dirt's starting to get chewed out. So it's difficult to run right up against the fence on the entry to 3 and 4. Once the car settles, it's actually not too bad. But yeah, getting yourself set and sorted will be tricky. And I've got my eyes on Cameron De Bruyne because I think he feels like he should be deserving of being a touch higher in this one. Gets actually quite a good start as De Bruyne nearly got to the inside. The car's up ahead of him as well. And Lachlan Mead, I think he will feel a little bit hard done by to be here in the C main as well.
Yeah, I think he absolutely will, but he's running strong in second for the moment as there's contact for third place. That sends Nash Granger all the way to the back with Gary Redcliffe, and Granger loses all of that momentum. Redcliffe, meanwhile, right on the back of Cameron De Bruyne for the final transfer spot, or what has become the final transfer spot. Big slide through turn 1 for Redcliffe. He got way too sideways on the slick there. This is another look at what happened between them. The number 44, Nick Mithen, gets into Nash Granger, and then he gets further contact from Redcliffe. So not going well for Nash Granger at the moment.
Yeah, and I think Cameron De Bruyne was actually on Redcliffe's inside as well, so he was sort of damned if he did, damned if he didn't. And there'll be no further action on that one. In the meantime, top 4 still looking for their transfers, and I think at the moment they're also, this will be testing for that B main, where to run. The big thing that I'm seeing is sort of nearly a crossover line. Get a little bit higher on your entry, point the car down and under, get your rotation done so that your exit's nice and smooth. It's nearly, it sounds weird, but the best comparison that I can give is driving in the wet on the road. Yeah, you got to cross the slick line at a point in the corner, and it's just about minimizing where that loss of speed and ability to keep the momentum is. You're going to have a bad section of the corner, but it's just minimizing how long that is, or how critical to the lap time it is.
Yeah, what I'm noticing, especially from Lachlan Mead, is as he travels over the slick, the car's getting very snappy. I think a lot of the drivers are dealing with the exact same thing, and some are having a better time of it than others. It's that, like you say, it is like wet driving on an asphalt surface. There's a bit of an aquaplane, a bit of a slide, and then the car suddenly snaps back to grip. It can be very disconcerting at the speeds you reach in these cars.
Yeah, it's nearly, you know, this is probably where I'm coming to do a little driving in the near future, because it'll probably help with that wet testing as well, and just building your way into things. As the 35 machine with James Oliver, is he trying to fuel save? Was it just me, or he looked short on fuel? Because he looked like he was lifting out and losing ton of momentum through the corner. Running the bottom.
He's sticking all the way to the inside. I think he's trying to find some extra grip down there and see where the track's going to go from here. Mead gets into the wall meanwhile, but he's not going to be under threat for second. Mithen, De Bruyne and Redcliffe are too far behind. James Oliver, touring sedately down low, is going to take victory in the C main, with Nick Mithen and Cameron De Bruyne joining Oliver and Mead in the top 4, and they will transfer through to the B main. Unfortunately, we will have to say goodbye to Gary Redcliffe and Nash Granger, who were not able to get the result they needed from that one. A real shame for the both of them. And Brady Baldwin, of course, will still be here, just not in a driving capacity. So let's see how that top 4 end up going, starting from the back in the B main, presented by SimRap Market. Big thanks to Simrap Market for sponsoring the B main at all rounds of the Australian Sprint Car Championships for 2025. Daniel Grimshaw starting on pole with Paul Bryan alongside. Nick Ryan and John Schultz will round out your top four with Daniel Boyd and Trent Gosley, 5th and 6th. Then we have Thomas Mitchell followed by our top four from the C main: Oliver, Mead, Mithen, and Cameron De Bruin as well. 11 cars taking to the start here, Scott. This is going to be a fun one. I gotta wonder though, with the handling troubles that it seems like Lachlan Mead's been experiencing, and you know, James Oliver being the sort of outlier, really trying that super low line, hugging the inside. I wonder where our C main top drivers are going to go from here.
Well, I think hugging that inside line is going to be the big thing, but you can't do it straight away. And the reason you can't do it straight away is because of the momentum coming from behind you. The problem with running all the way down the bottom is your entry speed is going to be really, really low. And in those first sort of two laps, as everyone's really bottled up, a lot of drivers are trying to carry a lot of speed into the corner and sort of slide up through the middle of the corner. So you actually can't you can't reduce your entry speed enough to just hook the bottom the way that you want. Once you start to single file out a little bit, you can run down there a lot better. So I would be keeping half an eye on him, because I think it worked for him. I think he was definitely the quickest driver towards the back end of that heat, or at least he was the most consistent as well. So, but he found really where the bulk of it was the one line, I would say, through the corner that had grip the whole way through.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be an interesting one here. 15 laps on the cards for the B main, so we are gradually increasing this lap count. And now, Grimshaw versus Bryan on the front row. I wonder if Paul Bryan will be able to pull off the same thing he did at USA. It seems he's still pretty competitive here. He's just been mired back as the power is down again. And we have the 75 leading us away. Grimshaw is solidly in the lead. Nick Ryan already attacking Paul Bryan, but here comes John Schultz trying the high line through turns 3 and 4. Contact in the midfield and slipping through. Only just there was Daniel Boyd and Thomas Mitchell. James Oliver falling to the back of the field there, and John Schultz still alongside Nick Ryan. Our top two are side by side as well. Dan Grimshaw back into the lead. Paul Bryan's trying to get it.
Oh, remember what I said about reducing that entry speed, and it down into 1 and 2. Now the 78's gotten in the back of him. Car up and over. Lids Kid as we get to 1 and 2 for Nick Mithen, and his day is going to be done as he exits off the back end of the heat. I'm sorry, my apologies. Daniel Boyd, Nick Mithen, I think, is still running in this one. Still managing to keep himself competitive. And again, it's transitioned back to that high, as no one can really wrap that bottom. And that it was all triggered by a slow Paul Bryan. Again, what I said, slow entry speed to wrap the bottom. And that's the thing that nobody else was anticipating.
Yeah, you can very easily be caught out, can't you? Trent Gosley has found himself in the top 4 now, but he's under a huge amount of pressure from Thomas Mitchell and Lachlan Mead. James Oliver passes Cameron De Bruin for 7th, just at the bottom of your screen there. And here comes Gosley and Mitchell, still fighting over the last transfer spot. This is to get into the feature, to make up those final 4 spots on the grid. Once again, you're going home if you finish outside the top 4. For the moment, it looks like Thomas Mitchell has secured himself over Trent Gosley. Again, we see that Paul Bryan is trying his best to get a move on here on Nick Ryan, who now occupies 2nd. The 35 of James Oliver is still looking to make his way forward.
Well, Oliver's got to the back, and then he's already started his march back to the front. Lachlan Mead is starting to make some headway as well, as he's starting to track down Trent Gosley. This is back up for P2 in the heat. In the meantime, Grimshaw is checked out with the lead of the B main, and Thomas Mitchell starting to track down and put some effort onto the rear end of Paul Bryan. And Bryan will feel aggrieved because he's been shut off. He's been shut down a couple times in the B main. And if Thomas Mitchell gets to him and starts to put that pressure on, is the 42 going to crack under pressure?
That is the question. 5 laps to go then, and this battle is looking incredible for the moment. Dan Grimshaw has streaked away to a 2.6 second lead. There is nothing anyone can do to catch him from this point unless he has his own mistake. And for the moment, it looks like Paul Bryan is pretty comfortable down low, but Thomas Mitchell is still trying his hardest to find grip up high. Look at the speed, the difference in speed that is carried on the entry here. and that brings him a little closer. As it's side by side again here, Gosley is now under attack from Mead and Oliver, and they will switch places themselves as they try to break into the top 5. But as, oh, that's Brian that's slow out of the final turn. He has fallen to 4th.
Now he has, and now he's only just in front of these, and that was Mead getting together with, I think, Cameron. They're both losing spots as a result. Thomas Mitchell's now slow. He's starting to slip backwards as well. White flag in the air. Last lap of the B main. And Paul Bryan slots his way into P3. Here comes the replay. That's the tripping over of the 28 machine over the 42. And I think he gave that one up. Grimshaw's going to get it locked in. Nick Ryan looks like he's going to get it home. And here's the for the transfer. Bryan gets it done. 28, I think, still does transfer and get the job done.
Wow. And that is, once again, a crazy B main coming to a close. Grimshaw, 2.8 seconds as the winning margin in the end. That's one of the best that we've seen all night. Nick Ryan, Paul Bryan, and Thomas Mitchell will transfer through to the feature. Unfortunately, everyone behind them, we'll be seeing no more from tonight. And, I mean, John Schultz, I think, will be feeling particularly cut up about that because he was competitive enough for a podium in this B main, I am sure. Well, it's time to bring in series admin Brady Baldwin for the grid redraw. The spinny wheel is up, and well, Brady, we're going to be deciding positions 6 to 10 first from the drivers that finished second in the heats.
Yes, we are, and really good racing tonight. So I'm actually, unfortunately, I don't get to race. I'm in the RC booth with Damon, so it's been a good spectacle, and hopefully the A-main's the same.
Yeah, we're certainly hoping for the same thing. First up is going to be Harry Stewart. Now, the highest that you're going to be able to start is 6th, Harry, but with the way the track is evolving, what side would you prefer to start on, low or high?
I'll be completely honest, I haven't watched a single race since my race. I've been doing something else. So it really doesn't matter. So I don't know.
You'll make it work from 6.
Cool. Epic. Thank you.
Cool. Happy Harry right there. 6th place start, best case scenario. Next up is Tim Ryan, the biggest fan of the spinning wheel. Well, P6 has been locked out, Tim. So 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th are your options. And I'll ask you the same question I asked Harry, low or high?
For the feature? Where in the car park? I actually think, though, Brady might have done a few more laps. I haven't done any laps this week, but just watching the B main, then it looks pretty racy. So, yeah, it'll be pretty interesting. Obviously, starting 6th to 10th or 7th to 10th will make it a bit hard, but we'll see. There we go.
It's going to be 9th for you.
Yeah, Brady, I hate you.
Okay, goodbye.
All right, where's Tim Ryan going to go from there is the question. Kobe Noonan is the next driver to join us, and P10 is still up for grabs, but a 7th or an 8th would probably be nice too.
Yeah, mate. I'm just happy to be here. I'm pretty sure this is my first redraw appearance this season. It's been a pretty shocking year for me, but no, it's good to be here. We'll try and make something of it.
Well, definitely 7th place is going to be ideal for you because that's where you're going to be starting.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
All right, for his first appearance in the redraw, Kobe Noonan starts 7th. Now it's 8th or 10th. Wherever you start, Nathan Van Der Wacker, you are going to be on the high line.
I'd like to be 8th for the lucky number. Oh, well, that's a shame.
You miss out by a couple of
You're
pixels.
kidding. Oh, anyway. We're in the feature. That's all that matters.
That's it. That's it. You can certainly get a run going from P10 depending on how things happen in front of you. And finally, Zach Rattray White with us. It looks like 8th place is going to be yours.
I'll take it. I'm glad I got a spot on the grid this round. Compared to last round, I made a complete dick of myself. So yeah, good to be here.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see how Weed Sport treats you. Weed Sport's been treating Joel Berkeley pretty well. Not only did you get the quick time, you also got pole and win in your heat. So
and we're about to draw a pole here.
Yeah.
If it happens again, Joel, it's a conspiracy, surely.
Yeah, I'm sure Tim wouldn't start something like that, but yeah.
Yeah, your crystal ball has worked pretty well so far.
We're landing on that yellow one. We're on.
Jay, I think there's a 2/5 there, bud.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there is too. Whoops a daisy.
Okay, there you go. We're good.
The yellow one, thank you.
Can we just
Yellow one,
when Joel's in the booth, can we add 10th to the spinning wheel just
No.
every time he rolls
Are
it?
you
Thank
kidding?
you.
Are you
Thanks,
kidding?
guys. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Come on! Jesus Christ! Oh,
I'm done. I'm done.
yeah,
Love you
man.
too.
We should just we should just ban Joel from the spinning wheel so we can get someone else
You
starting.
tried
on pole
last
for these
show and I got pole still. I didn't even have a shot.
Oh,
I think what would happen is if we banned Joel from the spinning wheel, the other 4 spots would get taken and first would be left over.
Yeah, that's what happened at USA, remember?
So
yeah, yeah.
Have fun, guys.
Oh God. Well, Joel Berkeley will celebrate another pole position here at Weed Sport, and Ethan Winter is the next to join us. Well, sorry to inform you, Ethan, but pole has indeed been taken, but front row would certainly be nice.
Yeah, I'm beginning to think this is fixed, man. I mean, Joel gets pole every week. It might be 7 or 8 times now. Hopefully I get 2 this time because track might go in a direction here where it's pretty single file pretty quickly, so hopefully I'm towards the front.
Well, you are going to be starting 4th, so not the best case scenario, but not the worst either.
No, not the worst, not the best.
There we go then. Ethan Winter starts 4th, and now potential 2nd place up for grabs for Matthew Gowans. You've had a really good run here at Weed Sport today, so a front row start would be nice for you too.
Most definitely. What have we got available? 2nd and what?
2nd, 3rd, and 5th, and you've gotten 2nd. So
Beautiful. Thank you,
discussion
sir.
over.
Thank you very much. I'll take it.
All right, front row for Matthew Gowans. Next to join us, Colin Bokus. So, Colin, the last round you sponsored at Oswego, you won the feature. Pole position is not up for grabs anymore, but you could still start 3rd or 5th, which is, I think, a pretty good position to run from.
Yeah, we'll be all right. See what we get.
All right, green or blue? It's going to be blue, 5th place for you.
Okay, we'll take it. I'm ready. I'd rather follow than lead, so.
Yeah, fair enough, especially around a track like this. And finally, Matthew Stables, congratulations, you're going to be starting 3rd.
I will take that. Had a very good night tonight.
Yeah, you certainly did. It's been a fun night for many people here at Weed Sport, but that is your top 10 for the feature. Berkeley, Gowan, Stables, Winter, Bokus, Stewart, Noonan, Rattray White, Ryan, and Vander Wacker. I'll tell you what, Scott, looking at that top 10, I still think just about anyone will be able to take the feature win from there, but consistency is key, and that's the hardest thing to achieve at Weed Sport.
Yeah, I think, obviously getting yourself into the feature. But can we just say that the spinning wheel just makes motorsports so much better? Can we incorporate this into every series ever?
Yeah, agreed. Just
But
random draw for the top 10.
Any single time that you get those feedback forms at the end of any series, that is going to be my #1 request moving forwards.
Absolutely.
Top
I'll
10
get behind it as well.
must be go through a spinning wheel for their grid position. Job done. Race immediately
I like
improve.
it. I like that idea. Putting some people out of sorts and some up the front that might not otherwise get the chance. Well, with that, checkered flag has flown in the warm-up, which means we can get ready for the feature presented by Wide Open Clothing. This has been an absolutely scintillating round once again of the Australian Sprint Car Championships by Oceanic Dirt Sim Events, and once again run through your top 10. Front row is Berkeley and Gowans, Matthew Stables and Ethan Winter on row 2, with Bokus and Stewart rounding out your top 6. Kobe Noonan starts alongside Zach Rattray White on row 4, with Tim Ryan and Nathan Vander Wacker rounding out our top 10. Scott, from 11th on back, it's how they were decided through the heats and the alphabet.
Yeah, outside of Brock Thompson, we're going to get back to the grid for 13th and 14th spots. Going to be Darcy Walker from Bentley Summers, Oscar Amers and Clayton Davies, Nathan Norman and Aston Hurley to round out the 18. And coming from the rear, Hadley Boyce from Jamie Stovall, Daniel Grimshaw, Nick Ryan, Paul Bryan and Thomas Mitchell round out the feature.
24 cars getting ready for 35 green flag laps here at Weed Sports Speedway. No track reset, of course. So I think drivers like Harry Stewart in particular are going to be a bit surprised by how the track has evolved over the course of the racing here. The slick line is so wide now in 1 and 2.
Massive, absolutely massive. That slick line, it's taking up virtually the whole track. This is going to be one of those rides where it's just going to be guess the start, and think about the crossover moves. Think about all the checkups that we've seen in the racing here tonight. Now we've got 24 cars for the first time at it. Yeah, this is going to be major. There's going to be a couple guys in Wobble Street in just a few corners time, I think.
Yeah, how many of them will be in our top 10? Oh, you see the cars running over at low speed, just looking at the ruts and the bumps on the way into turn 1. That's going to be quite a difficult thing to do at high speed. Well, we get ready for this start here. Joel Berkeley, the spinny wheel has smiled on him once again, and he's on pole, starting alongside Matthew Gowans in the number 8. Entering the start zone now, and Berkeley goes nice and early to lead us away for the green flag at Weed Sport round 15 of the ASC series. And Ethan Winter already getting up close to the wall. Same for Rattray White. They're trying out that high line. Trying low is Matthew Stables, trying to get past Ethan Winter, but doesn't quite get it done. We already have plenty of close racing in the midfield there, but it's still between Matthew Stables, Harry Stewart, Zach Rattray White, 4P4. Berkeley is comfortably in the lead for the moment, though.
Have a look at them feeding in there. That shot was a really, really good example of how tight the field is. You've got 24 cars trying to feed in the corner. Everyone's just about 2 wide, if not 3, as they try and squeeze their way in. The big thing I noticed early on, in the car, Darcy Wilson was sliding backwards. He was down transition. Starting to find some momentum. And again, that shot from the wall just showcases 3 wide as they enter in the midway through. I think the Tanner Davies was just about 3 wide as he cut his way through around the top. That's just how tight it is in the midfield. Try and get your way forward, because if you can get clear of the traffic and build some momentum, you are just so much more safe and settled.
Yeah, man, when you're in big packs like that, where do you go? Where do you fit your car?
Yeah.
You can be balked quite substantially with nowhere to go. I think that's Bokus running wide there, and Matthew Stables will duly try and take 5th place, but Bokus ramps it off the banking on the high side and will stay ahead for the moment. But Stables is one of those drivers who is keeping it stable, no pun intended, down low in turns 3 and 4. Wonder how many more drivers are going to try that. I see Tim Ryan doing it for sure.
Yeah, Tim's transitioned to the low slide. Nathan Vanderwack has moved up and in. There's a couple of guys coming back to the middle at the moment as some rubber starts to get laid down on the slick line, and slowly it's transitioning back to a fractionally tacky, but the dirt's just about gone. And we're already 8 deep into this feature at 35 as they rip down at turn 3 and 4. Berkeley's got the lead at the moment by half a second. Ethan Winter's 1.5 back as they entered 1 and 2. Have a look at this battle. Now for the 96 machine, Nathan Norman, who's trying to cut his way forward. Paul Ryan's gaining some spots in the feature at the moment. Darcy Walker's, I think, lost a couple. Kobe Noonan was a few forward. Clayton Davies, he just doesn't look his normal self here tonight. If he wants a championship, he's going to have to do a little better than 14th.
Yeah, he certainly is. Well, the 26 of Kobe Noonan there, and then we move back through. The fast repair window has already been closed. This is, just in time for the caution to come out as well. And it looks like that's a problem for the 96 of Norman. That car's looking a little hurt there, and I wonder what specifically has gone on to cause that caution. Fortunately, we'll shortly get a replay thanks to our friends at Sood Speed, and we'll see what brought this caution out. But that is a big blow, actually, for anyone who gained a bit of damage early on. The fast repair window closes at the end of lap 10, and then the caution comes out right away. Let's see what happened.
Yeah, gets down, gets in a little bit tight, gets around. Is he able to stay down low? Yeah, you know what? I don't think he's picked up too much damage there. I think he'll be totally fine.
Yeah, agreed. Looks like, okay, a little bit of a swerve there from Berkeley up the front. That was rather close. Yeah, I think that'll be all right for Nathan Norman there. and he'll be able to get back going nicely, maybe just a little bit unsettled. Regardless, he is going to be falling to the back of the field. The caution has been shortened, so the pace car is already coming in. Let's see what happened there. Okay,
That's Joel Berkeley choosing the top lane for the restart. That's effectively what that was. He gets lane choice.
Yeah, and it looks like it's worked out for him there. He holds on to the lead. And
oh, boy.
Gowan's already under attack from Harry Stewart, but Gowans is trying up the inside now. He's looking for that strip of fresh clay down low. Look at Ethan Winter, the momentum that he built through turns 3 and 4. Rattray White's in there too. Stables is there. Colin Bokus is on the outside looking in. 2 wide between Harry Stewart and Ethan Winter. Now 3 wide through turn 4, and okay, Harry Stewart just catching the wall there, and Gowans is looking slow again through turn 1. I think that caught out Harry Stewart. There's so many different lines being used here. The only driver who's not having issues right now is Joel Berkeley.
Now have a look at Harry Stewart, who just about gets to the outside, and he got to the right here. They're right. Top, he's checked a little bit, and here comes Ethan Winter. Winter's going to try and slide him here field as they get down here into 3. Tries to take the line away, does manage to do so. Cutbacks on offer now, but he can't keep the power down. He dove to the slick. Now he's replying. Slide job 3 and there for 4 through 6 as Winter, Rattray White, and Stables are going at it as well. They're forced to slot back in. Now they're 2 by 2 for 4th on back. And Winter's managed to get back up there and hang on to it for the meantime, but he's being under pressure. As Rattray White this is the best he's driven all season long.
Yeah, fantastic from Zach Rattray White for the moment. And you're really seeing the dichotomy of lines here. You either go super low or super high. You dip into that slick, you're going to have problems. But the high line on the exit of turn 2 is looking great. See Rattray White and how he used that to slingshot his way up into 3 and 4 and use the high line through there to secure it. You slide wide through turn 1, and right there, that's where the grip kicks back in.
Yeah, there's a little bit of berm halfway through the corner up there, and that's really what you're looking. There's, other than that, not a huge deal of grip. So managing the throttle pedal is not all that easy in the mean. Confidently at the moment, but Gowans is starting to creep his way forward. Keep our eyes on Tim Ryan, and the Logitech machine is starting to lose a few spots. He is drifting. Is Tim Ryan back to 22nd spot? He did not hook it up here. Whatever the setup adjustments he's gone for the feature have not worked. We are nearly 2/3 of the way through our feature as time's starting to run out. And the 46 machine of Stables is starting to get back to the inside of Ethan Winter. And Stables has run a great feature here tonight as well.
He certainly has. Brilliant job from Matthew Stables. It's starting to be on for the lead now as well. Harry Stewart has joined the party, and Matthew Gowans is looking for the low line on Joel Berkeley through 3 and 4. Contact between Gowans and Stewart, and Harry will go through at turn 1. They're coming up on a bit of lapped traffic now. That's Brock Thompson that is ahead of them at the moment. See how close they run to the concrete barrier up high. Thompson is going to let our leader go, but it's going to have to wait a few seconds longer to let Stewart and Gowans through, and I think they've been balked a little bit by that. Gowans now out of that top 2, and Harry Stewart, he's feeding the car to the wall a little too much. Now they come up on Tim Ryan, and Joel Berkeley, it looked like, had barely enough space to get through.
Yeah, and the trouble part is, I reckon the bottom in 1 and 2 is probably the place to be, but it's the top in 3 and 4 for sure, because you just can't find any purchase down the bottom. There's not enough clay left down there to find anything, so you've got to try and rip the top, and then Clayton Davies is going to go toe-to-toe with Aston early.
Yeah, brilliant battle between these two, and it's for the last 2 positions in the top 9. They got Bokus, Rattray White, Stables, and Winter right ahead of them. And this is going to continue now for the next 9 laps or so. We are going to have a mere 8 laps to go when our leaders cross the line next. And Rattray White continues running that high line beautifully. Looked like Bokus didn't have many places to go there. Of course, racing from the United States is Colin, so he needs to give a little bit more space. There wasn't space given somewhere because the caution is back out again. And who's that down there on the infield? That's Darcy Walker.
Yeah, Walker's had an issue, and I think he might be done for the day. And we're hearing it might have been Nathan Norman that got into him, and potentially Vanderwacker as well. So there's, but yeah, I think that was Vanderwacker's machine missing the front wing. So
yeah,
a few cars have gotten into each other. It was middle to the back of the pack because Vanderwacker was on the slide after he started well. But it's not gone Yeah, here it is. Walker's on the inside here, and all 3 cars in the lead.
So that was Norman, I think. That yeah, Darcy Wilson trying around the outside of 3 and 4 hit Nathan Norman, and then he sort of ping-ponged into Darcy Walker. That's a shame. Wilson couldn't do much. Sorry, Walker couldn't do much there. And as far as Van der Wacker goes, he's been running without that front wing for a while. I'm not sure where exactly he lost it, but he is one of the many walking wounded in this race at the moment.
Yep, that he is.
Thompson
And,
too. See that?
Yeah, 61 machine at the moment as well. There's a few of them that are missing that front wing now. And the tricky part is, this one's gone through really quick fire too as well. And our producers found issue with Van der Wacker and Tim Ryan we're hearing.
So Tim Ryan coming through on the inside there, and
there's Brock Thompson.
Okay. Oof. Yeah,
They
that's
just all
rough.
tripped over each other.
I was all the way back on lap 14. Well, better get back to live pictures because we've got an 8-lap dash going right now for the finish of this race, and Berkeley is continuing to lead the way from Harry Stewart. Matthew Gowans, I think, having some connection issues. I think he's dropped from the server, potentially. No, actually, he's still in there. He's not feeding anything to my timing, though. I'm not sure what's going on there for Matthew Gowans. That's not ideal. But Harry Stewart is trying on Joel Berkeley for the lead of the race, and this is going to go down to the wire, Scott. This is a great fight.
So have a look at the difference in the lines. The lines that Berkeley's taking down through 1 and 2, his entry to mid is where he's gaining all his time. In the meantime, it's middle to exit for Harry Stewart as he's keeping the momentum up. Now you're on slide once more from Joel Berkeley. Yes, that's how he's defending. See where he's finding that berm halfway through 1 and 2. But look, this time by much closer for the race lead, and Stewart is just about there.
Only just 3 laps to go. Look at the momentum off turn 4 for Harry Stewart. Can Joel Berkeley hold on to take another feature win this season? Stewart gets the run up the inside down the back stretch, and Berkeley's going to have to switch high in the final turns here to try and keep that. He does, and slops down low for turns 1 and 2. Matthew Stables is going to hold on to the 3rd place for the moment. Ethan Winter is pressuring him hard. Stewart back up the inside of Berkeley. White flag is out, and the leaders are side by side across the line. Joel Berkeley is sliding up hard into the barriers. He's trying desperately to get as much grip as he can in that 360 sprint car. Harry Stewart will need to try and dip down low, but he gets the wall. That's his chance gone. Joel Berkeley wins the feature at Weed Sport.
And he's been a man of domination in the past. He'll make it one. Get a job, P3. Might that be enough for the title? And the rest of the field are going to fire on through. That was a brilliant feature. Only a couple cautions in it. Far out. That was phenomenal. And the battle up for the lead. I've got to be honest, Berkeley was brave. He was brave. The line that he was running, you could tell that he wasn't quick on it, but it was the line that he knew. And the best thing about that line through 1 and 2 was it covered him to a slider. Nobody could send a slider as an aggressive move on him. So that's the defensive part of it. But I don't think it was quicker. It took a lot of bravery to keep changing that line and keep running that when it was definitely not the quicker line. So great job to him.
Yeah, great job for sure. Well, Berkeley is going to get maximum points from the feature tonight with Stewart and Winter rounding out your podium. Solid run from all 3 of them. Zach Rattray White, one of the stars of the show here, started from 8th place, I believe, and managed to grab 4th, and he raced incredibly well. Matthew Stables was shuffled out of the front-running positions laid on. Colin Bokus finishing a strong 6th, very consistent there from the American. Clayton Davies had to settle for 7th ahead of Ames, Bryan and Hurley, who round out the top 10. Aston Hurley getting a good finish in a feature for the first time in a while.
Yeah, great job for him. We'll throw it back outside the 10. Bentley Summers from Dan Grimshaw, and here comes the guys whose night started to slip. Nick Ryan, probably not too bad for him. Kobe Noonan, they transferred well. Hadley Boyce, Thomas Mitchells, Jamie Stovall, Nathan Norman, obviously in drama. Van der Wacker missing that front end, and Tim Ryan losing laps. And I think this is the big one that we were both looking at and going, hey, I'd love to see this guy do well. Brock Thompson from Darcy Wilson, Matthew Gowan's 23rd. That was a podium. That was P2 went begging tonight. He'll be so disappointed with that failing on him.
Yeah, for sure he will. It's heartbreaking there for Gowans and for Darcy Walker as well, who was sent down into the infield through contact. But it's time for us to grab the drivers for some interviews, and no surprise, the first man we're going to talk to is Joel Berkeley. Once again, converting pole into the win, Joel, but you and Harry were going at it really hard in those final laps.
Yeah, that was cool to go at it with Harry there at the end. We have two identical setups, and yeah, proves that our stuff's really good right now, and it was just cool to race someone with respect to cars that he's racing around, and yeah, it was cool to put on a show there. I think he was wishing I blocked that last corner so he could try and go around me, but I did the unexpected to him, I guess.
That you did. Came away with a solid result in the end. The track evolution was crazy by the end. We had that slick line going all the way across the track in the turns. You either had to go super low or super high, and I think it basically changed lap to lap what line you were going to take, especially in a battle.
Yeah, it was very tough to pick what line you needed to run at any stage of that race. It was sort of, you thought you had to run the top, and then you had to run the slider and rip 1 and 2 or 3 and 4 or run the bottom. It was tough there. I feel bad for the stables. He was really fast at that early stage there. Before I don't know what happened there, dropped out, but he's due to get one of these wins one day. But just unfortunate to him. He had a really fast car. We just sort of with the lane choice, I got to assist Harry a little bit early on there and get him up there, and we could just not play blockers, but just race with each other and know what we're expecting.
Well, we're going to round off the season very shortly. Only 3 rounds to go. Your mid-season form has been good, and you were 3rd in the championship coming into this round. So now it's time to put the head down and really get working for those final 3 rounds. See maybe if you can have a tilt at the title.
Yeah, I don't. I'd like to think it's possible, but it's hard to track down Ethan when he's on the podium every night as well. But look, would love to. All it takes is one bad night, but we're coming up to, I think, Knoxville next show, and he's really good at that track. So we'll just wait and see how we go there, and see if we can plot off and do what we need to do to make a few spots up and be there. But we'll just see how we go. We've been really good at these sort of boring, real technical sort of tracks that I feel like don't require setup as much as the other tracks, but hopefully we can roll into Knoxville with the pace we've had here and be competitive and up the front.
Yeah, here's hoping, Joel. Thanks for joining us. Anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, look, massive thanks to the guys at Slick Sims for all they do, Harry and Darcy. Shout out to Brad. He's missed tonight because he's doing the Manly thing and getting married tomorrow, so he's a bit busy getting prepared for that. So thinking or hoping him well for all the weekend for him getting married and everyone else. And yeah, that chips in. You guys for broadcasting, and Brady and his team for putting the show on every week and giving us one of the best places in Australia to race at.
Certainly is one of the best places in Australia to race sprint cars, and congratulations to Bradley Oldfield on getting hitched. Joel Berkeley there. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next round.
Cheers. Hopefully draw the pole again.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. We'll see if the crystal ball continues. That was Joel Berkeley, who came away with the win tonight. Meanwhile, Scott, I understand you've had a chance to catch up with Harry Stewart.
Harry Stewart, brother, you looked like you had speed in the dying phases of the feature there, and we were all sitting here waiting for you to just set on teammate Joel Berkeley. But I think at the moment, man, that track was tough to run at the back end. There was slick just about everywhere, and your lines were compromised, but you caught your way through. The overtakes getting through the field, it looked like it was just tough to run up front and actually have enough ground to get the job done at any point towards the back end of that feature.
Yeah, it was pretty tough. Just how many different lines you can sort of run at this joint with obviously the wacky shape it is. It makes a lot of opportunities for different lines, and I was trying to do something different to Joel at the end there, and doing that cut back in 1 and 2 was really good. But then, no matter what I did in 3 and 4, like when I slid him, to throw on the slider, there's there was nothing to grab me on the exit, so Joel just had an easy cutback and kept his momentum going. And then if I ran the bottom, then he'd just drive around me, or even cut back underneath if he really wanted to when I ran the bottom. And yeah, if I was gonna like sort of park it on him in 3 and 4, it would have been really, really rude. And he helped me out a bit throughout the night with obviously setups and sort of helped me on the starts and everything like that. So I wasn't gonna just make his life super hard, especially because he's actually in a points chase and I think I'm probably like 35th or something. So yeah, I was just trying to think of something to do on 3 and 4 where I'd keep my momentum and actually have a crack at him, but I just couldn't figure it out. But yeah, I don't. It's weird racing up front or racing up front like at the end of the race. I usually, if I'm up the front, I'll usually crash out within 10 laps. So it's a nice change of scenery, and actually finishing a race is pretty fun.
Look, I mean, obviously the big thing I think for you is, I think we even mentioned this earlier in the season, you're still in the champion fight, but I think with what's left of the season now, it just becomes, you know, run it for glory. I think a big thing for you is that you've come in and you've been able to win races in this series year in and year out. Every single time we go to a track, we've got the graphic of previous winners, and you're there for every one of them. Is what's left to achieve for 2025, and are you a little bit, you know, sitting here and going, I'm unhappy with my run in 2025? You go, I didn't have the time this year, next year's going to be my year. You know, how are you sort of viewing 2025 on the back foot from you?
Oh, it's obviously a little bit disappointing not to be sort of fighting in and around the championship battle, but I just haven't put in the laps to sort of be consistent enough to not hit the fence when ripping the top, or like making a mistake, a silly mistake that you shouldn't be making if you want to run up the front. I've been making those, so just comes down to sort of putting in the effort behind the scenes, and which I've been doing, which is my own fault. But yeah, so it is disappointing, but then it's also, I don't know, it's not the worst thing, just sort of having no expectations and going out there and just having a bit of fun and trying to, I don't know, make some money, I guess. And yeah, I don't know, it's been really frustrating crashing out of the features after you sit here for an hour and a half sometimes, and then you crash out of the feature and you don't get any sort of result with it. I was looking at the results sort of sheets in Discord, and every single one of them, bar like 5's got the 96 within the bottom 20. So yeah, it's been frustrating but cool, and I don't know, hopefully next year we have a bit stronger run and a bit more consistent. But no, it's good to see Joel doing well, and Bradley doing as well, and saying a lot of wells. But and then yeah, Darcy's been going pretty good this year. He had a pretty shocking night tonight, but he's been going good.
Mate, congratulations on the race result tonight, and you know, obviously it's a big thing to walk away with a P2. Who would you like to thank for getting it done for you here tonight?
Yeah, just Joel, Bradley, and Darcy, all the work they do with the setup stuff, and then Bradley getting married tomorrow. So I don't know why he's not prioritising ODSE tonight, but I have to talk to him about his priorities. Yeah, so yeah, him, Darcy, obviously for helping out and doing all the work as well behind the scenes, and yeah, Brady for putting on the league and all his admin for showing up each week and doing the hard job and the boring job. So and making it possible for us to run, and then the whole team at SimSpeed for doing a broadcast that's super professional and makes it feel like an event every Thursday night.
Well, mate, best luck to you with the rest of the season. Make sure that you get into Bradley when he gets back, and like sprint cars take this is more important than getting married any day of the week, mate. But yeah, I won't say that too loud because I think my girlfriend might be missing. So best of luck here, brother, and make sure you harass him and don't let him have it easy.
Nah, yeah, will do. Cheers.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, P2 for tonight is going to be the number 96 machine. Bradley Oldfield gets it done. Finally, Reese is going to be down with third place from the feature. Number 1 man coming in here looking to lock up the championship, Ethan Winter.
Yeah, Ethan, it was a good round for you all up, managing to grab that third place in the feature. Started well with the win in Heat 2. Would you have wanted the night to go any better than that?
I mean, I guess by my standard, I'd prefer to be, you know, a bit more competitive in the feature, that's for sure. I hit the wall pretty bad twice there, I think on lap 20, and that kind of hurt my car for sure. It's kind of fortunate to even get away with it, honestly, and yeah, it was pretty horrible those last 15 laps, that's for sure. I wasn't anywhere near those three guys at the front. Kind of unfortunate for Matthew there to drop out. I know he's had some issues with those lately, and it's a shame that he'd been running a really good race, and that's happened.
Yeah, not ideal for Matthew Gowans there, but I did notice that you were struggling to keep up with them in the feature there. Was that a car setup issue or a track issue, temperature issue? Can you give us any insight into what was going through your head during the feature?
Yeah, probably just committed too much time anticipating a reset, which meant that I didn't expect it to certainly be this slick. So the car was floating a fair bit, particularly on exit at 4. So I had to deal with that. If I could go back, I'd change quite a few things, but I mean, I can't complain about third. I only lost minimal points tonight again, so, and one less round to worry about. So hopefully you can just do the same thing for the next 3 rounds and wrap it up at the end of the season.
Yeah, we go to Knoxville for the next round of the championship. A wide open track, very different to Weed Sport, and a place that you've obviously had some success at in the past, some good results in the past. You're looking to back that up in 2 weeks' time?
Yeah, hopefully I don't commit a big choke job and lose the Knoxville Nationals, the iRacing one, again. So hopefully you can do one better than that this time and win. But Knoxville's a great track, rewarding when you get it right. So I look forward to that every year, and especially with the kind of crown jewel thing and the increased prize money. So I look forward to it.
As do we, Ethan. Thanks for joining us. Anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
Congrats to Joel and Harry. Cut above, like I said. Thanks to Brady and Damon tonight, especially Brady for jumping in when he could have raced. Obviously, thanks to yourselves and Jay for doing everything he does with SimSpeed. Thanks to Wide Open Clothing, Australian Speedway Results, District 23 Suspension Engineering, Trent Pullman Designs, Casey Simons Photography, Fusion Setup Shop for the Dig, and Vortex Simsport. And shout out to Brad Oldfield for his wedding tomorrow, I think it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks very much once again, Ethan. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time in Tennessee.
Thank you.
All right, that's going to round things off for tonight's racing. Scott, the championship looks as on screen at the moment. Joel Berkeley with that feature win, and Clayton Davies finishing a bit further back in the top 10 ends up swapping them in the championship. Berkeley is in P2, and that gap still looks tantalizingly close to Ethan Winter. That's what, about 80 points or so?
82 points, and yeah, there's still room there, but the big thing is time's starting to run out at the back end of the season. We are now into the latter half of things. So I looked at the calendar the other day and I just went, oh man, we've still got a heap of time left. No, we don't. It's the 4th of September. We've got 3 more races left in this season. We've got ourselves Knoxville Nationals on September the 18th. We've got ourselves the High Banks Hustle on October the 2nd, and then we've got ourselves the 360 Short Track Nationals from Lanier to finish things off. That's it. That's all we've got left of the championship, and I can't wait. Knoxville's always a good one. My favorite part about heading to Knoxville is seeing the air moving off the wings because of the high speeds at Knoxville. And the boys have got the Nationals coming up there in a couple of weeks' time as well. So the big thing is this is a big focus round for a lot of these guys. They put normally a lot more prep work coming into Knoxville because, yeah, mate, you can't afford not to. Knoxville's where it all gets sent down in Simland on the dirt. And this is going to be a big one to watch for sure.
It certainly is. We look forward to bringing it to you here on SimSpeed TV on the 18th of September. We want to thank you all very much for watching, whatever platform you've come from, and we appreciate you being here. Hope to see you again next round. Live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Kick, I'm Reese Gardner, and it's Scott Rankin alongside me in the comms box, Jay Kennedy producing behind the scenes on SimSpeed TV. We'll see you next time.